Everybody has their ideas of what's going to be like when crap hits the fan. And crap is going to hit the fan. And some of those ideas are really good, but...
some of them are not.
Yeah, so we need to make sure that our ideas are going to work and not kill us. So here are the 10 best ways to die during crap hits the fan. Number 1, not practicing bug out strategies. Armchair preppers.
The best.
Those are the best, aren't they? You know, it's funny how in our minds, this is just human nature. In our minds, since we think about it, therefore it must be real, it must be true. And people come up with all these ideas of what's going to happen, and they never even leave their chair.
Yeah, it's the worst.
And once you put it into practice, then you're like, oh yeah, that doesn't work as well as I thought it would. But nevertheless, it's easy to sit back in a chair and make judgment calls. It's easy to sit back and make plans, but then you don't actually try to carry out those plans.
Then reality happens and it doesn't go at all the way you planned it.
Yeah, and like one of those things is like even simply just exercising.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Like people think that bugging out, I'm going to bug out, live in the woods, chew on bark, and make friends with squirrels. And then they don't actually do anything as far as exercise goes. And we're not even talking about like cardio, like I'm going to run every day. We're talking about carrying a backpack for 2 miles.
Mm-hmm.
In your mind, you're like, I'm going to do that. But they don't practice it.
No, and once you put all your preps in it, it becomes extremely heavy. And you don't even account for that.
And let's not even account for all the stress that's happening to you too, because if you're out in the woods chasing squirrels, it's not because you want to be there. Well, some people do, but it's because crap is bad enough where you have in your mind like, wow, the city back I just left is burning now, and there may be marauders after me, and those squirrels may have rabies. You know, so all those things really are conjuring up images of fear. But you never know any of those until you actually go out and practice.
Exactly.
Like we try to exercise.
We do.
We try to walk every single day, and me and the kids still continue to practice martial arts. And you know, when I walk out in the woods when I can with Ashley. I carry a backpack and a rifle with me, and we try to keep a heavy pace and try to walk a certain amount of miles. And
it's not flat; it's rigid, and there's hills. Gosh. And I mean, if you just want to walk on pavement, that's great, but on reality, you're not going to be walking on pavement. You're going to be going over hills and
tripping over stuff.
Yeah.
Go ahead, you want to say it? She trips all the time.
It's kind of ridiculous.
I kind of wish I had a camera following us and just make a montage of all the time she trips over things.
At least 3 or 4 times every time I walk.
It is a lot. Which is, I mean, at least she doesn't get hurt. I wouldn't be laughing about it if she did. But again, you need to practice these things, guys. Don't be an armchair prepper. Armchair preppers. You have your corned beef hash. Yes, obviously I am obsessed with corned beef hash. I just say it jokingly, obviously. And you have your plans, but you know what? If there's anything that tells you in life is you can just have plans, but wrenches seem to be thrown in the gears of plans all the time. So you need to practice, and practice a lot more.
Number 2, being the Lone Ranger. Everybody wants to be the Lone Ranger.
Hi-ho. It should be hi-ho, gold, and silver with preppers, right? Hi-ho, gold, and silver.
It should.
Yeah, I love people talk so much about gold and silver as far as prepping goes. But yeah, being the Lone Ranger, and every time I put out one of these videos, or I should say we put out one of these videos about being the Lone Ranger, I always get a few emails, which nobody ever says it like mean-wise, but just kind of makes me chuckle. They're like, I like being the Lone Ranger. I like it just being me and myself, or sometimes me and my family. You and your family, I get that.
Yeah.
And I understand some people are introverted.
Yeah.
I get that completely. But I don't know. I try to use a lot of military strategies I learned. And one of the things that made me sleep soundly in the military, which if you ever actually served in combat in the military, there's no sleeping soundly, by the way. But you do sleep, and the reason you sleep is because you know your brothers, or in this case now today, we didn't have back then, sisters in arms, are watching your back on guard while you're sleeping.
Yeah, you don't get a restful sleep if you are by yourself. Like it's impossible because you don't know what's going to be out there, and you have to have some kind of, I don't know, you have to replenish your rest, and by being by yourself, you're not going to get that. Again,
we're not talking about out in the woods and singing Kumbaya and eating marshmallows and s'mores. We're talking about your life is in danger. Mm-hmm. And it may not even just be the woods, but in your house too.
Yeah.
And if you're the Lone Ranger, you really think you're going to be sleeping soundly? I mean, look, maybe you're like, I don't care, I'll die anyway. And some people are like that. That's up to you. But I'll tell you, let me put it this way. Even after being in combat, even after dealing with the actual stresses of knowing exactly what's happening around you, having somebody watching your back constantly,
it's some peace of mind.
You still sleep with one eye open. My kids will, and Ashley too, will tell you that I listen in my sleep, and my kids test this out sometimes while I'm sound asleep, and they'll talk. They'll come into my room, or maybe we're driving somewhere or camping, whatever.
They'll ask questions.
They'll say, "Hey, Dad, what's the capital of New Mexico?" And I'll literally, it's Albuquerque. Is it Albuquerque?
It is Albuquerque. I
Albuquerque.
think it is.
Yeah, I think
or
it is.
Or is it Santa Fe? I don't
know. It's
know.
New Mexico. Anyways, I'll answer. That's the point here, is I listen in my sleep, and if anything happens, I am up.
Yeah.
Now, what's hard is, like, it's like 3 a.m, there's a noise, and I'll, like, jump out of bed, and I'm on my feet. What's going on? And Ashley's like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "No, I just heard something." And that's even with people watching out for you while you sleep.
Yeah.
And the military turns you like that.
Yeah.
But yet, if you're a Lone Ranger,
I don't know, maybe they sleep sound and don't hear anything, and then you're dead.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's being the Lone Ranger. Obviously, we're talking about just sleeping, but in everything, you're asking for...
It's better in numbers. That's all there is to it.
Safety in numbers.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah, so you know what? Even the Lone Ranger had Tonto.
He did.
His silly friend, which is how demeaning he was. They called him Tonto. Anyways, I guess he was Kemosabe. So,
yeah.
All right. Anyways, don't be a Lone Ranger. Number 3, food will be scarce. Camping. Wonderful images, going out in the woods and foraging for mushrooms and little blackberries, and they're great memories, aren't they?
They are. They're great.
There's so many. Like, we were camping in North Georgia once, and we walked down this one road and came across. It was incredible how many berries were there.
And they were like big old ones. They were amazing.
Yeah, so we just went through and
Had
ate
breakfast.
them, and filled baskets full.
We did.
Just out in the middle of nowhere. It was wonderful. And it's funny, I think people use these images, and I know there's a lot of people who grew up hunting and foraging, and therefore are very good at it. I would like to be better.
Yeah.
And I practice at it. Or even hunting too. Wonderful images of, like, I'm going to go out and shoot Bambi. Actually, it wouldn't be Bambi. That's the baby. I'm going to go out and shoot Bambi's mom, or Bambi's dad with all the antlers, and I'm going to, get this 23-point buck and hang it on my wall and eat its venison of raw flesh. I think people actually have those wonderful images, at least with berries or killing deer or something.
Maybe.
But here's the problem. Food's going to be scarce.
Yeah.
Because right now, in America, we have what? 350 million people in this country? 350 million people in this country. Well, maybe like less than that. 349 million people get their food from the grocery store.
Yeah.
You show up, you buy your corned beef hash, you get your potatoes,
chicken.
Everything's happy.
Yep.
And we'll say the 1 million feeds themselves with chickens and
they already
cow
have
and stuff.
on
But
their
even
land.
those 1 million still go to the grocery store on occasion. I'll tell you that. And so what happens is all those people are waiting for the food to be delivered to the grocery store. They go to the grocery store and pick it up and go home and eat their Cocoa Puffs, and everything's happy.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? Crap hits the fan. Your Cocoa Puffs are not coming to your store anymore. Nor is anything else.
No, yeah, you're out.
Now who's going to be cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs?
That's
See what I did
true.
there?
I like that.
That was awesome.
They're not going to be deer outside. Everybody else, all the neighbors are going to be hunting the deer too.
Exactly.
They're not going to be there.
So your cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs is going to turn into cuckoo trying to kill deer and eating mushrooms from your backyard.
And you
hopefully not the magic ones.
Yeah.
And the berries. And understand that right now the only way we can feed 350 million people in America is through massive acres of farmland.
Yeah.
You ever driven through the Midwest? It's incredible how much farmland's there. It's not even just there. There's farmland almost anywhere.
There is.
And that's not coming to you anymore. So you actually went from the grocery store of buying cans and ears of corn
The luxury
and
of
potatoes
everything, yeah.
to now you're scavenging in your backyard looking for a mushroom.
That hopefully won't kill you.
349 million people are also scavenging through your
backyard,
metaphorically speaking, looking for food. And you think there's going to be some?
Yeah.
There's not.
No.
And then I'm going to add on to it. You actually picture yourself as being the amazing hunter. Have you ever hunted a day in your life? First off, being able to shoot takes
tough.
practice.
Yeah, it does.
And secondly, you don't just sit there and say, all right, deer, come to me. That deer ain't coming to you.
No, and it's a lot of process. I mean, have you ever butchered a deer? I mean, there's a certain way you have to butcher it, or the meat's not going to work.
Right.
I mean, there's
or a certain amount of time. You have to do it a certain amount of time.
I mean, the things. Have you ever hauled a deer up and hung it? It's a hefty.
Wait, you have to hang them? I thought we shoot them.
You have to do both. I mean, you can't be a lightweight. You have to have some muscles.
For sure.
I mean, definitely, it's not an easy task. So I mean, it's not all roses as you think about it to feed.
So again, food will be scarce.
Yeah, it will be.
And if you have any dreams of going off in the woods and eating from the woods, the only thing you'll be eating are the other people who are out there in cannibalism. I'll kind of give you a little hint there.
No, I think reality, I think maybe for the first week or two, if everything, we'll probably be able to see deer, but they're going to be gone shortly after.
Yeah, I've heard, I don't know if this is true, I love to corroborate things, but I've heard that actually some species actually went extinct during the Great Depression, or some of them actually came very close to being extinct. But that was the Great Depression.
Yeah.
How many people were in the country back then compared to what's now?
Yeah, we're not going to make it. I mean, so many people
we're not going to make it. We're all
going to die. So, I mean, we're good to go. But yeah, don't have reality where you think you're just going to be able to go out and shoot anything you ever want and live off of it. Living off the land is not as easy as everybody thinks it is. No, it's not. Seeds are your best prep.
We have lots of garden space.
We do.
We actually have 2
plots.
Yeah. Our one close to the house is probably about 1,000 or 1,200 square feet, around there somewhere.
Yeah.
Then we have a 1/4 acre we're working on now, actually increasing it. But how much stuff do we get from our garden? Holy moly. It's gardening. Look.
It's rough.
There are some master gardeners out there.
Yeah.
And I'm not one of them. This guy is not a master gardener. But we try.
We try, but even like this year, the doggone well truck had to drive through the middle of our garden and killed half our plants because he had to drill a well. Like, there's things out there that happen that are really challenging for you for a garden. And
the challenge changes every year.
It is.
If you ever watch An American Homestead with Zach Bauer, we love Zach. Check out his channel. Excellent channel. YouTube hates him, so therefore you know he's doing something good. And he actually came up with a video recently and said that, I don't care what kind of pest you have in your garden this year, next year will be different.
Yeah, will be.
And then the year after that will be different.
It is.
And every year it's something.
It is, and it's challenging and it's frustrating because you think you're going to get like this amazing thing and you only get half of what you want because of the pest, or as our thing, deer, or a big truck drove through our garden. Like, maybe you won't have that, but there is something new every year that we face, and it is very hard. There is no way we could feed our entire family off our garden. There's just no way.
And then that's actually with grocery stores open and buying eggs and such, and down the street they sell, they sell meat. Like, when that's gone, we're not talking about being frustrated. We're talking about starvation. And yes, of course, you should have a seed vault. You should have lots of seeds of things you like. But I'll tell you, I've even told Ashley, our first few years here, I was like, Ashley, there's no way we could grow enough food to feed our family for the year. Yeah. There's no way.
No way.
But we try.
We
continuously push and expand, and that's all you can do is keep trying. But don't think that by saving seeds is going to save your life, unless they happen to be sunflower seeds, and you actually have truckloads to feed you for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be delicious, though. I love sunflower seeds. Number 5, becoming the food thief. We made a video about this.
We are.
About people who basically said, I'm not going to prep, I'm just going to take your prep. So if that's you, if you're like, I'm just going to take other people's food.
Are you seriously?
Listen, have you been in the country? Yeah. People out here, they're good shots.
They are.
And they actually look forward to those kind of things. You see signs like...
Beware or warn.
Trespassers will not be given a warning shot due to ammo shortages, things like that. So... I mean, look, I'm not going to say there aren't marauders going to be out there doing things. And when they actually hit certain houses in the country, you're going to have some less marauders hitting your house.
That's true. You'll be less unnumbered.
Right. But if you think you're going to be that person, you are going about this all wrong. And I know people will say things like, listen, why should you have that food even though you prepped ahead of time and stocked up while my family's here starving? I get that. But why is my family going to starve because you just come in and try to take my food?
Yeah.
I don't want to go around shooting people. I like people. Yeah. And I don't mean I like them with barbecue sauce, but I like people, I guess that should be a great sign. Trespassers.
We'll be eating with sauce.
Yeah, we'll be eating with barbecue sauce, during crap hits the fan, maybe. Yeah, so anyways, this is just a short one, guys. If you actually have any inkling that you're going to be one of those marauders coming to people's houses, good luck with that. You're going to be wasted. That's all there is to it.
Number 6, I will cook by wood. I'll be the first one to tell you guys, that is really challenging. I am horrible with my cast iron pans, but having the right temperature, it having to cook for a lot longer than needing to be. If you haven't practiced, that is something definitely you should do because you will starve because you will either burn your food or it won't cook. It's really challenging.
And talking about practice, I can tell you how many things we've burned. I mean, we actually get pretty decent with certain things now.
Yeah, but on the regular stove, I'm fine. But when it comes to the wood, it is so hard.
Yeah, because right now, look, you get propane You can buy it overpriced at Walmart, or maybe have propane delivered, maybe a big tank.
Yeah.
Gasoline, well, you don't want to cook on gasoline anyways, but natural gas will be gone. Charcoal, which is wonderful. Same thing, you still have to buy charcoal. I mean, I don't think anybody actually has it in their backyard where they dig a charcoal mine. That'd be pretty cool.
That would be.
All that's going to be gone. And so therefore you will be left to cook on wood. I mean, there's solar options too, which are great. I'm not discounting that at all. But actually not so much, but I love to cook by wood. And I have where I actually have a fire, and I have the grate on top of the fire. I have my BioLights. I have my other wood stove. I love it because it is challenging.
Yeah, but it takes so long.
And then we're talking about, you ready for this? Perfect days.
Yeah, because the wind or the rain.
Rain, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, I'll say, hey, Ashley, you know what I think I'm going to do? I think I'm going to smoke some brisket. And I'll smoke a brisket on occasion. And sometimes I'll actually use coal just to enhance it for the heat. But I use wood, and I use wood from our property for doing it, which is just awesome, cool. You know. But you know what? I don't look outside and say, man, look at that thunderstorm. I think I'm going to go smoke some brisket today. Not at all. Yeah. When I'm going to smoke, which takes like all day to smoke a brisket, I watch the forecast and say, you know what, Ashley, I think Thursday will be the best day to do this.
Yeah, weather conditions. Are you going to starve during that time then? Because you can't have anything. I mean, we go through seasons where it rains all the time. Like, how are you going to keep the fire dry? And how are you going to with the wind? And it's more challenging than you think.
And seasoned.
Oh,
seasoned wood and splitting the wood and everything else. Yes. Now, being out here in the middle of nowhere and wood being the only thing that heats our house anyway, we could get by cooking year-round with wood.
Yeah.
We could, even on rainy days, because we actually have a certain number of wood that's kept dry all the time, so that way we could do it. But listen, that's because I'm actually on another YouTube group. I forgot the name of it, but it's something like Michigan Off-Grid something. It's a great group. I mean, so far, everybody on there is just great. I've been on there for like a good year or so. And one person came up and said, how many people out there heat their home only with wood? And I was the only one.
Yeah.
And I said, we do. We actually go through about 20 face cords a year. Mm-hmm. And we actually glean the wood from our property. Yeah. And he was like, oh my gosh, look, there's somebody who does it. But I'll tell you, that's actually with gasoline and chainsaws too.
Yeah.
That's not. And also for a wood splitter. That we're not talking about with a crosscut saw. So crap hits the fan. Cooking with wood will be, even where we're at, a nightmare. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be fun. So don't have these dreams of always cooking with wood. And for those of you who go camping like once every 3 years and you try to get a fire going, you can never understand why you can't get a fire going. It's because you don't understand the wood.
Yeah, it really, honestly, I thought we were pretty good fire starters. And then we really started heating the house with wood, and I'm like, wow, it really makes a difference what wood you grab. It really made a difference.
Yeah, and there's the practice again.
Yeah.
The more you practice, the more you start seeing things. You're like, okay, now I got it.
Yep.
Even like chainsaw use.
Yes.
We thought we were good chainsawers before. But now, like my son Sam, who's like Goliath guy, he's so big. He's incredible with a chainsaw. But even beyond him, I actually watch other people chainsaw. Someone go over, yeah, I'll cut that for you. And they take the chainsaw and they start like moving back and forth like it's a knife. I was like, you know, that's why the teeth are on there. Okay, anyway, we're not getting into chainsaw dynamics, but practice will do that. And you know this. Practice will do that. It'll make it so you start being able to be more proficient at what you're doing, and then you start seeing other people, you're like, yeah, that's not going to work. And that's what I'm telling a lot of you guys when it comes to cooking with wood.
That's not going to work.
That's not going to work. Number 7, hey, let's live in the woods.
It's cold, damp, and dirty. The best place to live.
Dirty. What kind of dirt are you talking about? Yeah, it is cold, damp, and dirty. And, you know, one of the things that, you know, because like I actually, in my early days, I suppose still go backpacking, but I used to be a pretty avid backpacker in the Rockies, you know, doing some really awesome mountain backpacking trips. Yeah. Even in the snow. You know, we go backpacking in the snow and stuff. But anyway, probably one of the biggest things about people out in the woods, living in the woods, people actually think your tent's going to protect you. And I'm not saying I don't have a tent. I do have a tent. I've got probably way too many tents.
2 tents.
We have that's when it's stressful, 2 tents.
Oh, okay.
But we have a lot of tents. But I'll tell you right now that people think that out in the wilderness, in the woods, a tent's going to save your life. For shelter and some warmth, it probably will. But guess what else it does? It hides you from everything else out in the woods. Those things still know you're in there, but you don't know what's outside. So often we'll simply just have a tarp hung by a tree to keep the elements off of us, even in the snow. And you camp outside in a sleeping bag outside the tent because you'll never know if a bear is coming in your camp. or a marauder or anything else, because those walls shield you, and it makes it so you don't see what's going on.
Have you ever tried to get out of the tent zipper so fast and it jams and you're stuck in there?
And that's just when you need to pee in the morning.
Exactly.
I can't get out. But we're talking about if there's actually something really actionable coming into your campsite. Yeah, that's not always the best thing. So, I mean, I always say it again, it's good to have a tent. It's really good to have a tent. Store your gear, keep dry, keep the elements and stuff off of you. But people actually, on the same note, people think camping out in the woods is those days of camping and everything's going to be fun. Getting back to nature, getting nice and smelly. You smell like smoke all the time, and cooking your meat. And I don't have to worry about paying bills or electricity anymore. And sure, I know it's going to be rough, but it's going to be the best time of my life. No, not even close.
They ate one of those fun mushrooms.
Yeah, right. Maybe that's why they enjoyed it so much.
Maybe.
They found mushrooms, didn't test them first, and off they go. But we're talking about, and here's what it comes down to. The reason you're in the woods, if you're bugging out to the woods, obviously, is because cities are burning, and millions of people in the cities have followed you out into the country, and they want your corned beef hash and your tent and everything else. They want that stuff. People are not going to play nice.
No.
And so you're going to be sleeping with one eye open. It's going to be the most stressful time of your life. Squirrels will not be your friends. No. And s'mores are going to be stolen from somebody else. So keep this in mind, guys. Bugging out in the wilderness, I always say don't bug out unless your life depends on it. Because if you bug out in the wilderness, it'll probably kill you.
You're at the end. Number 8, I have all the latest gadgets. Those amazing gadgets that you saw on Amazon or some kind of camping channel, we have them all.
Or a prepping channel like Goshen Prepping. Look at that awesome gadget. Yeah. And listen, I'm going to say there's nothing wrong with gadgets. I love gadgets. And sometimes you just simply need to kiss. Keep it simple, stupid. And sometimes you do. You ever heard that before?
No.
Yeah, that's the military kiss. Keep it simple, stupid. Because sometimes we actually put way too much in it. And I think it's in some ways, like even solar generators kind of take it to a whole new level of I'm adding stress to my life with this. Yeah. But there's actually it's nice having lights on.
It is.
Or even have it charge things up. We have a fan on. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, I hate sleeping without a fan. But gadgets, 2 things about this. Number 1 is often you can get by without the gadgets. Mm-hmm. It's just one more thing to weigh down your backpack. Okay, or even if you stay in your house, you're bugging in, as people call it, you're staying here, gadgets are not always going to still save your hiney. But the second problem is, and here it is, we have the armchair preppers. Mm-hmm. Look at all my gadgets there. And then suddenly they don't know how to use them. Mm-hmm. So at one time when we were camping, we went to Vogel State Park in North Georgia. Absolutely pristine, gorgeous, beautiful. And we got this beautiful camping spot. We spent a couple weeks there, I think. Yeah. And here comes this guy with this camper. And you could tell he had the bucks because he had the top of the line camper.
Decked out, man.
I mean, everything. I mean, it was like brand new. It's like, wow, look at this. And guess what he did?
He wrecked it 3 times.
Trying to pull into his camping spot. He couldn't even park the darn thing.
It was really sad.
And Vogel's not easy to park in, granted, because there's a lot of trees. It's gorgeous. But he wrecked it 3 times. He's the kind of guy that had all the gadgets. Yeah, and his armchair was sweet, too. But he literally had, as soon as he finally did park it and unpacked it, he had like every single brand new gadget out there, all pristine. He actually had bundles of wood stacked up, and it was like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah, we felt sorry for the guy because he was definitely had all the gadgets but had no idea how to use them. So don't buy gadgets that you guys have no idea how to use them. Or if you do buy them, learn them.
Practice. Oh my gosh, practice. Because again, last thing, you're going to end up getting that gadget out. Let's say the gadget does work, except you also have to have this part to make it work.
Or it didn't come with a part.
Now you're toast. You're SOL.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You're in big trouble. So make sure you practice with them. You know what's going on with them. Because nothing wrong with gadgets. But when your life depends on the gadgets, you better know how to use those gadgets. Number 9, my appliances will still be handy. Not if they take propane.
Nope.
Or natural gas. Or electricity. Especially electricity, because I'll tell you, you're not going to get a solar generator that's going to power your oven if you have an electric oven. That's way too much power. It's not going to work. And you think, oh, I'll have a gas generator. Well, that gas isn't going to last so long, and it's extremely loud and gives away everything that's going on. And I've got my barbecue grill, and I don't have propane anymore, but now it's putting off all these amazing smells for your neighbors. And listen, you may have still those appliances, but your appliances are not going to be there for you.
What? My microwave won't work anymore?
I mean, yeah, I don't think a solar generator will even power a microwave either.
No.
A gas generator will.
Yeah.
But again, why would you want to?
I don't know. I mean, it's crazy because not only is this, if you've ever been around a generator, they are not quiet. You're going to smell it. You're going to smell those lovely, whatever you're cooking, that the neighbors are going to smell it. I mean, people are going to smell your delicious stuff. I mean, have you gone past somebody who's barbecuing? Like, you can smell it and you're like, oh, I want barbecue hamburgers.
Yeah, so digging a Dakota fire pit, you actually have the vent coming in there from upwind and actually feeds your fire and makes it so you don't see the flames, but also will actually help a little bit in hindering the smells of whatever you're cooking on your cast iron. Because listen, how many of you gone camping and you get up in the morning and you fix breakfast and you're like, I want to live here, because just the smells are incredible.
The nature.
But guess what? Crap hits the fan, all your neighbors will be like, I want to live there. And they're going to be coming for your food.
Yeah,
your appliances, right, their appliances are going to be one of the biggest things that's going to cause problems. I mean, we actually have one of our friends, Kim's Cluckerts, on the channel. She had a freezer and it died and she didn't know it. And she lost like a whole side of beef.
Yeah.
So when crap hits the fan, if you don't have a way to keep your freezer going,
you lose it all.
Right, exactly. So guys, nothing wrong with appliances. But I will tell you, you better have some kind of contingency or backup plan for your appliances too, including cooking as well. Yep. Because you know what? It's going to be a whole different frame of thought.
Number 10, I'm going to be the urban commando. I'm going to raid homes and get all your food.
I always picture Arnold Schwarzenegger and Commando carrying the giant log, And it goes along the lines the same people think they're going to be the marauders taking other people's food. But you don't understand what the urban lifestyle is going to be like. Glenn from The Walking Dead. Remember him? He could actually zip in and out between the walkers and stuff. But you know what? Glenn would die quick because people do have guns and they're going to be taking Glenn out. Because we're not going to have zombies, we're going to have other people who are hungry. And it's going to be chaos and problems. But if you think you're going to be the urban commando going through a city, you're not going to understand what that city is going to be like. Between fires and violence and gangs, and people will steal anything you own.
Wild dogs.
Sewage. Yeah. No more trash collection. It's going to be one
Those
nasty
New York
place.
Rats, man.
Oh yeah, exactly. We're not talking about just the people. So being an urban commando, I think the only way you need to be an urban commando is to make it so you can get out of the cities. Yeah. And again, always have a plan, a second plan, a third plan of where you're going to go. Don't simply just think you're going to go off in the woods. But if you think you're going to be living in the cities during these times, I think you are simply asking to die.
Yeah.
Because, listen, there's no food grown in the cities, not even Central Park. And if there were, I wouldn't eat it because I've been in Central Park many times. Okay, there's no food. People are going to, those millions of people in the city are going to be eating the food up, and it's going to be gone in a matter of a few days. Yeah. And you're going to be an urban commando, think you're going to be picking off other people's food. They don't have any food either.
Yeah, exactly.
And so those of you who left the city are one thing, but there's going to be a lot of people still there thinking they're urban commandos, and they're not going to be sitting meeting you on the street corner to play pinochle. They're going to be wanting to take whatever you have, and you're going to want to take whatever they have, and guess what they have? Nothing. Nobody's going to have anything except for sewage and trash and dead bodies piling up, and it's going to be
a lot of crime and a lot of things.
It's going to be a bloodbath. So don't think that the cities are the place you want to be. Now, if we're talking about like a temporary problem where the city's lost power for a few days or a week or something, yeah, you might be able to figure those things out. But if we're talking about an actual crap hits the fan scenario, you need to make plans to get out of the city and be the first ones out. Have a place in the country you know where you're going to go to. Then if you want to play commando.
Then you are good.
Well, then you're playing against country people.
Yeah.
Who, again, are good shots. All right, anyways, I'm sure there's other things, too, that you've looked at, too. What are some ideas that people have that will simply get them killed? Because, we actually gave you the top 10, but there's more also.
There are.
Yeah, people really have these ideas of glory days, living out in the middle of nowhere, eating flesh and drinking beer and just, things are wonderful, and they're going to die. Unfortunately, if we're talking about a real shit hits the fan scenario, there's going to be a lot of death. There's going to be a lot of death.
Which
it's
is
a scary thing. But that's why we prep. We don't live in fear. We prep. And so hopefully we'll not simply be a casualty because you know what? I don't have visions. I mean, I know a lot of people you do. I don't have visions that it's going to be like that forever. I believe it's going to be just a matter of time. The matter of time may be a while, but there will be people coming out on the other end of the tunnel with light and saying, I survived it. And that's what we need to shoot for, whatever's coming your way. All right, thanks for watching. Let's continue on and check out the next video.